Welcome back. You're watching a Money Monday edition of Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. I'm John Tobacco. I hate to call it Money Monday today because our money is under attack, folks. Friends, family, everyone. The markets are under siege right now. The coronavirus, fear, fright, and hysteria is everywhere, including, toilet paper aisles, which is mayhem. Yesterday I went to Stop and Shop. It was out of control. But the markets are getting crushed. And hidden inside of all this markets and coronavirus and other stuff, there's still news on the Donald Trump associates front, where I believe Michael Flynn and Roger Stone were unfairly targeted and maliciously prosecuted. Some people don't necessarily think that, and to give us her views on the talk now of a potential pardon for Michael Flynn, Sara Azari joins us. She's a white-collar criminal defense attorney and author of Unprecedented, a simple guide to all the worst things Donald Trump has ever done, right?
It's the little engine that could of the Mueller investigation, basically. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure having you. And you are, super lawyer, megastar, all that other good stuff. And, we try to have thoughtful conversation on the show and show that, most Americans are a little more humane, that they can be friends and have a conversation even if they don't agree politically. In your legal expertise, so much craziness has gone on with this whole Flynn case. I mean, does it just save the justice system a little time and money if Trump pardons him?
Well, that's an interesting perspective, but I disagree. I represent people like Flynn who don't get that treatment. The reason I wrote the book, and really what the book is like the ABC legal breakdown of the different individuals who were indicted and convicted, like Flynn, Stone, Papadopoulos, Manafort, Cohen, etc. And when you look at the lying to officers, lying to agencies, federal agencies, that is a crime. So, reading the chapter, for example, on Flynn out of my book, you reach the conclusion that he was good for the crime. And what's happened now is that we have this special Justice Department for these cronies to, give them special treatment, essentially. And now I think yesterday's tweet by the president was the first time that he so explicitly said that he might pardon Flynn.
Let's take a look. I think we have that tweet. Let's take a look at what the president tweeted yesterday. So now it's reported after destroying his life and the life of his wonderful family, many others also, the FBI, working in conjunction with the Justice Department, has lost the records of General Michael Flynn. How convenient. I'm strongly considering a full pardon.
Look, this comes in the middle of a pandemic.
Do you think there were lost records?
I don't.
As an attorney, you don't believe that the government
but there's
loses
no information.
Records from
No.
You never have a case against the government
rarely,
where they shuffle around some stuff and play games.
There's dirty things that are absolutely.
Okay.
But
right.
I don't have any information.
I'm not asking you to indict the system, but I'm saying I know a lot of criminal defense attorneys. When I talk about my perspective on what happened with guys like Roger Stone, they say you wouldn't believe how dirty they play sommes.
Sometimes they do.
That's part of the game.
That's why I have a job, right?
Right. You're one of the best in them.
Right. But it's highly unlikely that with a high-profile individual like Michael Flynn, that somehow his files would get lost. But my point is that on a Sunday, in the middle of a pandemic, this is the last thing Americans want to hear is the president's considering a pardon for somebody who was part of the Mueller investigation. And what comes to my mind is the idea of the use of the word hoax. The president 2 weeks ago called the pandemic a hoax. He still calls the Mueller investigation a hoax.
That's what I think some of the more left media wants us to hear. But what he said was, what I heard was
a Democratic hoax.
Well, the fomenting of the news of the coronavirus was the hoax, that the news was making it bigger than it really is.
But it really is big, right?
I don't think it's that big yet.
Well, but
I'm saying, just me personally, I don't think it's that big yet.
I always downplay everything because I don't want to accept that New York City.
Me too.
I'm here for a week.
I'm here
for a week and I can't eat out.
Oh my God, what are you doing?
There's nothing to do, right? But that's the reality. I mean, we've never experienced anything like this. It is. I mean, science is saying this is going to get worse before it gets better. It's definitely not a hoax. And I just was shocked at this tweet yesterday because it's the last thing I think. What we want to hear is, when are tests being made available? When are we going to hear about a vaccine coming out? When are we going to get this under control? Like you said in the last in your last segment. We're headed towards a recession.
Yes.
It's really scary, you know? And so I think from a president, we want to hear something that's a little bit more comforting and not a lie, something that's actually true, that I have this plan in place, that, you know, as opposed to saying, we got this under control. We don't have it under control.
I think, you know, this guy who's basically running the show, Anthony Fauci, is, you know, a real, you know, elephant in the room. He's like the guy. And he knows his stuff. And
absolutely.
All sides agree. This guy's one of the top experts. And to me, you know, everybody has their role to play in this kabuki theater, right? But when I see that guy get up there and start talking, and then I see the left, what I call them the lefter wing media, praising that guy too, then at least Trump's got one thing right. He's letting that guy run the show.
I have a question for you. I know I'm the guest. You know, I was thinking about this, and I was thinking how it might impact the elections. When it comes to, like, you and I are able to argue with decency. I have a lot of friends that are conservative, and you know, we discuss our differing opinions, and that's it.
We're like Ellen and George Bush. When they sat next to each other at the
But my question is this: don't you think that healthcare and a healthcare crisis like this, a health, you know, crisis, is something that there's no left or right? I mean, don't you think
you would think that right now some savvy politician would take up the line of saying, can we all just unite right now and say, all right, we want to keep our country safe and not make the pandemic
and tackle this
right.
thing.
Let's just do something.
Right.
But it doesn't seem like, it seems like both sides want to keep tearing it, like, you
Division,
know, further to the outside. Look, this is my friend Tom Del Beccaro, okay, former chairman of the California Republican Party. The divided era, and he says that the more government apparatus divides the people, the more the people pay, the more it costs all the people in the middle, and it stinks that it's happening over a virus, an epidemic, and you know, it's everyone can go, well, this many people died under that president and that but right now is the issue. And I don't know, I think now there's a real response. There was bipartisan action to pass a bill with 8.5 million.
Correct. Thank God for that.
Right.
But I really want to see the president not call this a hoax, not undermine it, not say things like we have it under control. When, you know, he makes one statement, and Fauci, like you said, who is legit, who I listened to very carefully, contradicts him. So I just want him to not downplay this. This is a real threat. As much as I hate that it's happening, because it's really messing with my business too. The courts are closing in LA. You know, trials are being stopped in the middle of the trial. So, you know,
you better get into the divorce business because families are going to be.
I got to figure out a second career for sure.
There's going to be a lot of that going on, but no, it's absolutely. In our last minute here, I want to ask you this, just like a attorney blind taste test, right?
Sure.
I call you up and say, hey, Sarah, I had a big problem. A friend of mine. He's like 70 years old. He's never been arrested. He doesn't even know what he did. He, you know, lives home with his wife, and it's alleged that he lied to the government. And a SWAT team of 30 guys barged down his door and came and wrestled him into. What would your first thought be on a nameless, faceless, colorless person that fits that profile?
It could be anyone. I've represented defendants from all walks of life, politicians, you know, city politicians.
How often do people serve significant jail time for a process crime like lying to Congress?
Not often. Not often. It's usually a probationary crime. But I'll tell you the difference. I know where you're getting at. When the person is then forthright and is candid and comes clean and cooperates and does so accepting responsibility, then they're eligible for probation. I mean, that's the common sort of outcome. But when they continue to sort
exacerbate,
then you're starting to face time.
I've been honest. He's one of my friends. I've known him for a long time. That, you know, I think, you know, he's almost getting charged for crimes of the past also, but you know, it happens to the best of them. If you want to roll with the big dogs, you
Pay the
to
big
hang out
price.
in tall grass, you know. Well, thank you very much. I
Thank
hope
you. It was
the
a pleasure.
criminal defense and courthouse practice perks up for you.
I hope so too. And here's the
I
bug.
really appreciate your alternative point of view. It was a good conversation with you.
Thank
so
you.
much. It's Sara Azari, criminal defense attorney to the stars, and possibly you. Take a quick break, and you be there. We'll be here. Crack open a cold Corona. Sit back and relax. It's going to get worse before it gets better.